Let's go! LSU versus Florida. This breakdown is about to get ugly for the Tigers. We're going to talk not only micro stuff from this game, but an overall bigger picture if Brian Kelly is even the right coach for this team. Starting off with the stat here, Brian Kelly only the, third coach in the modern era? Or actually fourth coach in the modern era to lose 3 consecutive games. The other 3, you see what happened to them. Okay, let's move ahead to the fourth down play. Obviously, Aaron Anderson was really getting a lot of work early in this game, and it looks like we wanted to go for it on 4th and 1, and we blow a timeout. Okay, remember that. And now we get into this play on 4th and 1, and what do? Well, we run a jet sweep here with Xavier Thomas. Once again, an overall failure of this offense is never, not once, having Garrett Nussmeier fake any type of handoff and pulling it. Because even if this was just a basic handoff right here, these backside ends are able to just chase a lot of this stuff down from behind. You see how tight he's able to get? That means we just have no pull read to the backside. And then the second thing here, what I don't like about this play is we are trusting a receiving tight end to make a very critical block on it, okay? So when we get to here, I'm a little shocked Xavier still tried to bounce this. Maybe this play right here was designed for Xavier to get this jet sweep and actually cut it up through here, because if he does make a decision to plant and get vertical, he is picking up this first down and maybe more than just a yard. But instead, we're trying to bounce it. Josh Williams had a rough game blocking. He does a good job there, but on 4th and 1, I do prefer a play to be run a little bit more vertically instead of horizontally, because these DBs are going to be playing really aggressive, and it makes it that much harder to pick up those yards. So on this defensive drive, you will see LSU's lack of depth and lack of playmakers, right? So Sage Ryan, disciplinary issue, not playing this first quarter alongside Bradyn Swinson as well, according to Cokie Riley. And this is a 3-star true freshman, Devon Keys. He gets the ball thrown directly to him. All you have to do here is catch it, okay? You practice this every single week, okay? Every single week. You go back into your drop and you practice this. And this is honestly really good stuff from Keys, the linebacker. He sees that the play action fake is not a run, and he not only gets deep into this drop right here, he's able to get into the window. So we were lucky they didn't throw the shallow drag. That would have been a big gainer. But watch, it's thrown directly to him. You just got to make the catch. All right, so we get to this 3rd and 7, and they're just going to keep attacking our nickel in passing sets. So, once again, Major Burns letting the team down, disciplinary issue, okay? Sage Ryan, he's out of the game. So, Sage Ryan's out. Major Burns is one of the safeties. And now the nickel, who would normally be Major Burns, is now P.J. Woodland. And P.J. Woodland actually was in the first quarter. He had a chance to make a difficult tackle on Kendrick Law to force a punt. He missed it. Now, Florida gets their best receiver versus a 3-star true freshman, year 1 DB, and this is an easy read for DJ Lagway. It's single high safety, you throw the slot fade, right? Jaden Daniels killed people on this, and P.J. Woodland has just had a rough year. I understand he's a true freshman, but the fact that a 3-star true freshman's having to play, it's just too much, right? He's not ready for this level of play, and that's on coaching and partially development, okay? And you see Corey Raymond saying, don't get beat on the slot fade right there. So then we give up a huge run here on 1st down. Once again, I have not liked some of our defensive tackle decisions. We like to over-penetrate. So we have a slant call to the left side, and look at this. They just kind of wash us out, all right? They're just pushing us out right here. And once you get to here, you need to get off this block and work your way back, and Parashan just can't do it, all right? He's not really a defensive tackle. Greg Penn has a chance to make a play. He doesn't, and it's an explosive run play right through the B gap, okay? Not good. All right, and then we get to this, and this is basically just a double move, right? Brian Thomas Jr. has done this so many times. In fact, he scored a touchdown on this route concept in Gainesville a few years ago, and once again, it's been a tough year overall for Ashton Stamps. I mean, he's mostly been solid, but not only is he open, okay, look at the really good back shoulder throw. It's right there. Now, another thing, the slot fade was open as well, okay? So we are getting burn on both sides, okay? Both sides. And it's not good. It's just not good, okay? Look, it's their best receiver going up against a safety, and he's past him, all right? DK is past him easy, all right? This actually probably would have been a better option. Either way, we're just getting burned really, really, really badly. All right, we get to this 3rd and 6. We had a Kamarion Pimpton drop. And, man, this is just really good stuff from Garrett Nussmeier. Good job reading the leverage of this DB and throwing this ball on the out. That's good stuff. Look at this ball location of Mason Taylor. Bang on the upfield shoulder so he could turn upfield. First down. Good stuff. Hey, really good call right here by Joe Sloan on 3rd and 4. Show a jet sweep. Little motion here. And it's not a jet sweep motion, but you have Mason Taylor in motion, and you run this football to the left side behind Will Campbell. Really, really, really good stuff. And this has been, I've talked about this with Blake on AYS. This is an interesting decision to have him to the left of Garrett Nussmeier. In theory, this ball is supposed to be going to the right. Okay, so you got zone blocking to the right. This is a good job by Caden Durham feeling this out. Okay, it's obviously blatantly obvious that he should go here. And, man, you get a big whiff from Paul Mabenga here. Okay, it is interesting because this play is designed to go to the right, but you would have liked to have gotten a little bit bigger of a piece. And maybe Caden Durham's gaining a few extra yards, but still on 3rd and short, you're able to pick it up. Okay, so we get to this 3rd and 1 again. It was a nice Caden Durham run to the left side, and then there was a drop from Josh Williams. And once again, I understand it sounds like a broken record, but Paul Mabenga's in the game. You also have Miles Frazier hurt. So Tyree Adams, who just had a procedure not too long ago, is into the game. And now we need DJ Chester to make a good block to the right side. And what happens? Well, he whiffs again, okay? Now, once again, this isn't entirely on him because it is zone blocking to the right side. His responsibility is this gap. So you would like Paul Mabenga to help pick this up. 21's a big body, and Josh Williams makes 21 miss, and he's able to pick it up, okay? Not good blocking up the middle, but we're still able to get it done. One thing I've brought up a few times on film reviews is our blocking technique is sloppy, right? Not only is it sloppy, we don't use really good leverage in football IQ. So this is a reverse going to the right side, okay? And we are reversing the motion of the tight end. So a lot of teams do this. Texas is the absolute best at this. But our blocking technique is sloppy, okay? So this end does a good job reading that Kamarion Pimpton is trying to seal him. And watch Pimpton, not the best job blocking this, okay? And you'll see that he gets ragdolled. Okay, he had a few opportunities to turn his body upfield, stick this right shoulder right here, and turn it. And part of the problem with him giving up some oomph here is he's able to get a piece of DJ Chester turning the corner, and he's still able to cross the face of Pimpton. Not good, okay? And because that slowed Chester down some, you could see that we can't just run it up in there. Now, this is actually a good job by Xavier Thomas. You'll see him press and then bounce, okay? So, watch this. We need a good piece of 7 to be blocked. If we get a good block right here from Mason Taylor, Xavier is turning the corner for a big gain here. And guess what? We whiff again, okay? This should have been a bigger gain. This should have been a bigger gain, okay? But, the blocking technique is just off. Go watch a team like Texas and how they block these kinds of plays, and watch us, and you'll see it's just a completely different thing. All right, once again, we just don't have the dudes up the middle. 3-star, 4-star guard who is an offensive tackle coming off surgery, and we're trying to run outside zone to the right. That just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Honestly, this is not good running either from Caden. In this spot, if they're sitting this heavy, we need you to climb vertically. So stop and pop. And he's done a really good job of that this year. But this should have been stopped and got vertical. And if you sneak through here, this is actually a nice gain. So this is a good play call. But once again, poor blocking and poor reading. Down, we're trying to run the ball again. We give up A-gap pressure. I don't know why Paul Mabenga let this DT go through the A-gap. Maybe he's thinking DJ Chester picks it up. It's really poor coaching and just bad. It's just, I can't tell you how bad this is. It is putrid stuff. Okay, and then it's third down. Y'all, we're not going to win any games if the middle of our offensive line is this bad. That's just so much. Okay, so what they're doing here is they're running a stunt. So he's cutting through this A-gap. He's coming in, and we have a looper coming around here, okay? And we just cannot block it. We have no if, ands, or but protection up the middle, okay? And obviously, this looks like there's a rushing lane. 19 is two-gapping Emory Jones right here just in case. So this is really good quarterbacking from Nuss. We want to make this a manageable field goal. And guess what? We get in field goal range, and Ramos, who kicked a pretty big kick from about this distance a few years ago, misses it to the right, okay? And one more thing about this play. I want you to see at the bottom of the screen here that there is a hole shot to Kyren Lacy that is potentially there. This corner decide to cloud and sit in the flat right there. And you can see Kyren was open. That's an ambitious throw. There is a safety right there that you would have to squeeze that throw through. And young Garrett is actually trying it, but not now. All right, I want to shout out Blake Baker. It's third in Pensacola. This is a really good adjustment. You get more speed on the field, but PJ Woodland, who you keep in at slot corner, you bring an extra safety over the top of the slot fade, okay? That's really, really, really good adjusting because you know that they were going to try and run this play again. Now, do we get lucky here? Yes, because DK was open on this little glance post right here. You would like to see our safety sit a little bit heavier and get down on this a little bit quicker, but lucky enough, Lagway decides to play quick. He's thinking that this corner is running with this player, so he decides to work the tight end Boardingham underneath. And this was a good job by Javian Tomiano dropping back into coverage and being a part of this play. It's a good job by Zay Alexander as well, and we force a punt, okay? Good defense, a missed throw right there, but great adjustments. All right, so we get a few Caden Durham runs, and it's a first down. So we get Florida right where we want them, all right? We have some verticals being run here. We're running deep crosser here, and a deep post to number 3, Chris Hilton, okay? So we add a little play action fake to it, and we get these linebackers jumping, all right? This is exactly where we want them. Now, a few things happen. The first thing, yet again, DJ Chester getting pushed back into the lap of Garrett Nussmeier. Okay, this makes the throw that much more difficult, but that's fine. Okay, it's not the best, but it's good enough protection to make this throw. Now, watching this, you will see that Aaron Anderson is open on this deep crosser. But when Garrett is actually throwing it, it's not open because our two guys run into each other. So the spacing here is not good. It's not. We shouldn't be having this happen this far into the season, okay? The next thing, Brian Kelly chews Chris Hilton out again because Chris Hilton made the same exact mistake versus Texas A&M. I don't know what the hell he's doing. Don't jump. Quit jumping. Don't leave your feet. I have made this criticism of Chris Hilton for years now. He has just no feel, okay? Don't jump. Keep running under the ball, okay? When you jump this early, you are mistiming when the football is going to hit your hands, okay? So when you jump, the refs are less likely to call pass interference. It's just the truth. Is this pass interference? Yes. But because you jump so early, you lose all your leverage and any chance to actually catch the football. I don't know if Chris Hilton is playable right now. And I'm recording this as the game goes on, so hopefully he makes a big play and makes me look stupid. But, this is pass interference even with him jumping, but refs are less likely to call it. So there's no reason to be jumping this soon. You see, this is just really bad technique all around. When you jump that early, you lose your leverage, and you're going up with one hand. How do you expect to bring this ball down? The ref's just not going to bail you out going so wild up into the air. Now, you notice Brian Kelly does chew Chris Hilton out pretty bad, and it got torn up on social media. But in this instance, I'm actually going to defend Brian Kelly. And a non-professional lip reader basically translated this as, "You're effing uncoachable. Who the F do you think you are?" I don't know exactly what BK said, but he also believed Brian Kelly said, "Why do you keep jumping?" Which is something that we brought up plenty of times. So last week on Patreon, I actually said Chris Hilton should be benched, along with 3 other players. That podcast is free. You can see it for yourself. And I also did a deeper film study on Chris as to why this shootout is even more justified, because he's not doing what he's coached to do, so he should be benched. Get to here. And honestly, I think Garrett just needs to hit this shallow drag right here. Bang. This is getting you an easy first down. All right. But Garrett sees that this pocket has completely disintegrated, and he could roll out to the right side, and we'll take this all day, every day for the first down. Okay, it's not bad quarterback play. I prefer to just hit that shallow drag, but we pick up the first down. Good stuff. Okay, so we get to here, 2nd and 9. And once again, Garrett's unwillingness to run really hurts this team. It really, really, really does. This ball should never, ever, ever be thrown. They're running a little twist here up the middle. It's actually a loop where the DT comes around, and we're running mesh, and they just have everything covered, okay? They do a good job passing it off. They know we're running mesh because we run a lot of shallow drags like this, and this is just really well picked up. You just got to tuck and run. With this DB's leverage being here, he puts it behind Kyren. He can't catch that, right? You're putting your receiver in a really bad spot there. You've honestly just got to tuck and run and freaking go, okay? You would have liked to have seen more of this from Garrett Nussmeier, okay? If teams are going to keep sitting back and you're not going to tuck and run, you just got to keep hitting these check downs for easy first downs, okay? So, good stuff, right? We just want to hit Josh right here. DB was out on air, and we had 2 whip routes. And this is honestly, Josh had a really good first half, makes this guy miss, and then rolls off of him and picks up a first down. Josh's best run of his career actually came a few years ago versus Florida. Okay, so 2nd and 7, this is really good offense. There's another receiver. You can't really see him at the bottom of the screen. We're running flood. Little flat here, vertical here, run a deep out behind it. We run flood a lot. And honestly, in the last game, Alabama did a really good job guarding it. Florida does not here. And Mason Taylor continues his absolutely positively phenomenal season. Okay, 1st and 10. Here we go. Run right up the gut here. And we got to have this block. Got to have the block versus the nose tackle. And Cameron Jackson, who's actually from Haynesville, Louisiana, 2 gaps, our guy up the middle, and we can't do anything about it. And my, oh my, Garrett freaking Nussmeier, this is such great quarterback play. This is basically just a deeper version of the game winner versus Ole Miss, okay, or the overtimer versus Ole Miss, okay? So we're running smash down here, okay? It's not there, so we can't throw the corner. We can't throw this in the flat to Mason. But if we're running smash to the bottom and the safety is over the top of Kyren, that means this portion of the field is going to be open, okay? So Garrett back into the pocket. Good job by this front. DJ Chester, they do a good job passing off this twist. And this is really good protection here from LSU. Look at when Garrett is deciding to rip this. This is absolutely positively ridiculous quarterback play. Okay? Would you like to see a tuck and run every now and then? Sure. But this is what you want right here. Okay? And, well, actually, I thought he was ripping it now. He actually pumps and then resets and then throws it. Okay? So we get away with one there. And Garrett, while he's getting hit, look at this ball location, y'all. Look at this. Bang. Aaron's first half of dominance continues. Okay? What a throw. What a catch. So the LSU defense eventually forces a field goal on this next drive. Man, this is a huge missed call in this Florida game. There's a ton of missed calls in this game. But, God, that's just got to be called as a hold right there, okay? I mean, look, his foot is right. He's making the tackle if he doesn't get held. This ends up being a pretty nice gain for Montrell Johnson, who's just now back from injury, okay? And, honestly, we get bailed out here that he decided to just stick his head down instead of trying to bounce this. That's not really good running back play anyway, and Greg Pinn's eventually able to make this play. But Florida gets away with one there. You see this play from Zy Alexander running a vertical. Our twist gets home right here with Ahmad Bro. And look at this play. Okay. Bang, bang. Good job right there by Zy Alexander. Good ball skills. Okay, so it sets up this third and medium. We're in too high. They run a quick screen here to the right. It's part of my problem with Sage Ryan. Like, he's always so late to react to a play. Look at how far back deep he is. And look at how closer Jordan Gilbert actually gets to making this tackle than Sage Ryan, okay? And we'll break down this play a minute ago. Watch where he is, and look at where Sage is. He's always so late to react to a play. Either way, Whit Weeks saves us here, okay? They're running a quick little screen, and Weeks notices it while he's blitzing as a quasi-QB spy right here. Does a good job not penetrating here and reading this screen. It's a good job by Savion Jones making that throw as difficult as possible. Because if he doesn't fight back into the screen, Mizell, who's really fast, is getting through here. Okay? And honestly, P.J. Woodland played that really well as well. So that's good stuff. This is good team defense, getting off blocks and making plays. Really good stuff, and they make a long field goal. Okay, so we start this drive off with the counter run to the left. Man, this is really good stuff from Will Mabanga, and this is a good job right here by Caden to see that they're tightening in on this counter, and he bounces it, okay? Really good stuff. A good block right there from Kamarion Pimpton. Excellent stuff. Caden makes the guy miss, and now it's off to the races. That is just excellent run game. And you're probably wondering, where the hell was this all season? Huh? And so LSU hit Mason Taylor on an out, and they elected to let the clock go down to the 2-minute warning. I wasn't the biggest fan of that decision, but I'm okay with it. It's just kind of risky if you only have one timeout. Man, look at Will Campbell, and look at Mabanga here. Mabanga got better as the first half moved on. That's really good run blocking, and we are carrying forward for a nice gain here on first. So after another run on first, let's keep working these outs to Mason Taylor. So they decide to bring a slot corner blitz, and we just got to work the outs, and 27 plays this terribly, okay? High throw, and we're able to get out of bounds here. Good stuff, okay? Okay, so we go to the 2nd and 7, and man, Garrett's ball at times has a die to it, right? It'll die down. I do think it did get tipped, okay? But man, sets up 3rd down. All right, and this is really good stuff from Kyren on this 3rd and 7. He has the slot corner in a blender. Garrett sees that he has a leverage advantage. Look at when Garrett is actually deciding to throw this ball right now, okay? While Kyren is still in the break. Goodness gracious. I mean, you can't play QB better than that. It's a good catch by Aaron. Yeah, the ball location could have been better. And then after the corner got torched, Kyren is able to hold on to it. And then he's able to get off of 27 again and fall forward here for a first down and getting out of bounds. All right, we get to the second down, and this is what happens when you needlessly burn timeouts. You know, your quarterback in the back of his mind is like, okay, I want to make sure I could get a chunk so I can preserve another timeout. Man, he locks in here to Kyren Lacy. He's doubled, and this should have been an easy throw right here to Aaron Anderson. Hit this. I mean, there's no telling what he's going to be doing with the football right here. And it's there, okay? Now, what happened to the protection? And once again, it's just something that Garrett's used to now. You're going to have a lot of bull rush up the middle, okay? But the problem is Josh Williams got ragdolled here. Okay, 6 has him, and he just throws him out of the way. Got to be a little bit better there. And, that's a really bad sack. Lucky enough we were able to make the field goal. All right, it's 3rd and West Monroe, and shout out to friend of the show, Lainey Wilson. Yeah, she just had a big show, I believe, in West Monroe. How about that? Shout out to Lainey and all her success. I know she's doing the ABC Country Music Awards or whatever. But, man, wildflowers and wild horses and bad decisions here. I cannot state enough how much the lack of a QB run game just hurts basically everything. Okay, so this is a really good rush from the Florida defensive line versus a mobile quarterback, right? It would have been hard for Garrett to run through any of these lanes right here, but in this spot, there is a gully to run through right up the gut here, all right? Now, we prefer the throw and getting this here and taking a timeout, but they eventually picked up that we're just running outs on 3rd down with Mason Taylor basically every time, and they finally do stop it. But the thing is, if you have no QB run game and he doesn't actually step up, and we actually have a double, Mabenga and DJ Chester do their job, you're never going to get respect from the middle of the defense, and these DBs are able to stick their heels on the yard to gain marker, right? This should be ran through at least once in a game to at least change the rush angles. And if you do that, that helps out your pass protection. Okay, we start off here, first play of the 3rd quarter. We have a little bit of an RPO read. Really good stuff right here from DJ Lagway. But I show this play to once again show, all right, Sage Ryan is the safety on this hash, okay? He is always so late to reacting to any type of play. First off, this is way too easy. We're in too high. Obviously, we're getting beat deep a lot. I understand playing soft coverages. But how is it that Jordan Gilbert is there that much faster than Sage? And, well, Sage finally does make the tackle, but it's not after the guy gained an extra 6. It's just bad. So an overall sad thing about this year is because we didn't really address it in the portal, we didn't have a corner opposite Zy Alexander that's quite frankly good enough. So we bring a safety into the box here, and Lagway makes a good read. He says, hey, it's press man. I got all this field to work with. And guess what? Zy Alexander steps up, and this looks like vintage DBU. We get a lot of pressure right here from Savion Jones, and Lagway fading away has to throw a ball up. Look at this coverage right here from Zy Alexander. Absolutely nothing. We get the football back. Now, once again, sign of bad culture is a dead sideline. Okay, look at this. We get the turnover, all right, that we're getting the football back at a 10-10 game on the Swamp, dead sideline. Okay, we have, look at this, good stuff from Caleb Jackson giving Zy Alexander a seatbelt, but our sideline needs to be going freaking nuts, right? I have never understood a dead sideline. This happens all the time with LSU. Celebrate. We're getting the football back. Okay? Dead. Okay, let's get to here. This is not on Garrett Nussmeier at all, okay? The only thing I would say about this play, before we get to the actual protection and the actual play itself, okay, man, we had a really good release right here from C.J. Daniels, and this is what he did better than pretty much anyone in college football last season. Just goes on a single receiver side, and he has 27 absolutely cooked. Florida's corners have been very hurt this season, and they got healthy for this game. This is there, okay? This is there, but the progression told him to go from right to left. Another thing about this, backed up into your own territory, working to the far side of the field, it's tough. It's really, really, really tough, especially if you are working from left to right to Garrett's blind side when you know the left side of our offensive line is a massive issue. So to do a deep progression right to left on 2nd and 7 is probably not the absolute best thing in the world either. Now, let's be fair. Paul Mabenga is just not ready to be a Division I Power 5 starter. Okay, so this is bad coaching from Brian Kelly and bad coaching from Brad Davis, okay? Now, I don't mind Paul Mabenga getting beat, okay? The problem is you don't have a center who could step up and help make this play. You could see DJ Chester is looking to the left while also with his right hand supporting Miles Frazier. So Chester is seeing this the entire way, and a good center can bail out Paul Mabenga here, but as you guys know, DJ Chester is not a good center, okay? So in this spot, I actually prefer you hold. I actually do. Yank him to the ground because if we're running a deep progression to the right side, a hold strategically here is actually a good play, okay? Because it's going to be a strip sack every single time, okay? So, lucky enough, Paul Mabenga stays with the play and gets the fumble recovery. But Garrett does get hurt sticking his hand down into the pile. Okay, you can see that is a lot of pressure on his right arm under the pile. Now, why do I say this is bad coaching? If Paul Mabenga is struggling as much as he possibly could, and Tyree Adams is healthy, and he had a really good half in the first half, filling in for Miles Frazier at right guard, why in the world would LSU not make the simplest decision ever? Take Paul Mabenga out and put Tyree Adams in at left guard. But they didn't do it for the entire game. It made no damn sense. And there is a world where I think if Garrett Dellinger was healthy, we win this game, okay? We win the game. That's how bad Paul Mabenga was in this game. Now, this is a really good play call on 3rd and 12. Just run it. You might pick it up. We actually get really good doubles right here on this duo run scheme right here. Then we get to the second level here with Emory Jones, who I think had a really good game outside of the big false start penalty later in this game. And look at this double. That's good stuff, okay? Now, we just need Josh to get skinny. Good play design, good stuff. And we get some help from the umpire here, just kind of screening for us. And we pick up the first down. Good offense right there. Good play call, running on a clear passing down. And whoever this is, I want to know who you are. I love this energy. I really, really, really do, okay? We need more of this when we pick up a big first down. More of this. Now we get to this 3rd and 8. And once again, it's just Paul Mabenga getting beat again and again and again and again and again. Okay? It made no sense to make him play the full 93 plays. It made no sense. All right? Absolutely, positively no sense. Okay? He is a second-year 3-star player out of Buford. There's nothing he can really do. He's just not good enough to play this yet. But lucky enough, Aaron Anderson's an absolute beast. We do have this whip route from Aaron Anderson that's been money. In particular, that Arkansas game, this route worked every single time. And because Aaron Anderson's an absolute freaking beast, he's able to pick up the first down, okay? But you notice everything offensively is just difficult for us to pick up. It is. All right, 2nd and 3. Once again, outside zone with pistol, all right? I know we run this play a lot on second down, but it's turning out to be something that works a lot for us, in particular running it to the right. Okay, run away from Mabenga, who is struggling mightily, and he actually has a really good block on this play. This is perfect blocking. But the problem with this is a lot of our run plays, for them to work, every single block needs to be executed perfectly, okay? And guess what? Every single block, outside of a little sloppiness there from Miles Frazier, was executed well. And, man, Caden would tell you he would have liked to have made that guy miss, but we pick up the first down. Sequencing from Joe Sloan. Guess what? They're not expecting you to run it again, but guess what? We run it again. Good block from Miles Frazier. Emory Jones had a really good game in my opinion. He just did, okay? And he does a good job getting that block done, and we're able to get to the outside. Good blocking down the field from Kyren, and this is good offense. All right, now, this is, once again, 88 tore us up, all right? 99's from Louisiana, from Haynesville. And this is Miles Frazier getting beat pretty badly. But here's the thing when you get beat, and Will Campbell's really good about this when he gets beat. Stick with the rep and at least make it difficult. So notice when Miles Frazier gets ragdolled here, he's able to get just a little bit of a push right here. And because he stuck with it after he got beat, he's able to give Josh just that little bit of space for him to squeeze through. Okay? Now, once again, not the cleanest rep from DJ Chester at the second level, but it's good enough. All right? And we're able to get Josh through. All right? Josh had a really good game just running the football. All right? But pass blocking was poor, had some bad drops in the passing game as well. And it was very costly. It really was. But Josh, for the second time in a row in Gainesville, big game. Okay, we get to this 3rd and 8. And I know I've been critical of Sloan in the red zone, not calling things to where guys are wide open. This is entirely on Kyren Lacy. And Kyren, it's been not a superstar season. It's been a good season. Man, you have to in this situation, because this play is working even if he doesn't touch him. In this situation, once you get to here, you need to get vertical. You cannot touch the DB. The refs are doing a better job of working to not let receivers do these pick plays, and we get the 2-for-1 that we want. You just can't hit them. It's a good call, all right? But notice the DB was late to react to this. So if you just get vertical, this is working. Good job by Trades being the clear out here. And in this spot, just move out of the way. This would have been enough to prevent this DB, because it is such a perfect throw. Hits him right in the number to where he doesn't have to break stride. And it was a good call. And it takes a touchdown off the board, and we have to settle for a field goal. It was a 4-point mistake right there. 3rd and 10. This is good stuff from Blake Baker. Bad execution on the back end, though. This is really poorly coached, and that's partially on Blake. We do a good job giving them a different look. So we're in this weird sub package. We put Major Burns over the middle, and we're rotating our coverages, okay? So it looks like this is single high, but what we do is we actually rotate into cover 2, all right? So in this spot, this is a really good read by DJ Lagway. I don't really quite understand the leverage here from our DBs. I think in this spot, I understand that you have a corner right here. I would prefer our leverage from Jardin Gilbert here to be to the other side of the receiver, okay? In other words, the weakness of this defense, since we are rotating this into cover 2 right here, is actually right here. Now, this is not a normal weakness versus a cover 2 shell, but since we are rotating it, that is a weakness. And since we are in the spot taking Major Burns back here, I think in this spot, if you're Jardin Gilbert, we have got to funnel the DB to the middle, okay? I would prefer him get funneled to the middle, okay? So, look, corner here, in-breaker here, and what I'm thinking what should have happened here is Ashton Stamps was actually supposed to run with this deep corner, and this inbreaker gets picked up by either Major Burns or Jordan Gilbert, okay? It's a weird alignment, but this honestly is just a little too easy on this 3rd and 10 right here. Honestly, it's way too easy because we don't want Lagway here to pre-snap. And this honestly is really good. He starts off actually looking to the left. He reads the coverage rotation here and then sees to the backside that he has this leverage advantage. So he knows that this deep out is going to work. So in this spot, since it is cover 2, you are the cloud corner, so you're right here. But whatever reason, I don't want to give up this deep corner with this much of a leverage advantage, okay? It's awkward coverages right here. And actually, the more I look at it, the more I am thinking that Stamps actually should have had this, and this get passed off because you see Gilbert now runs with Boardingham, and Stamps just can't get depth. And honestly, the entire game, they just threw to Ashton Stamps' side, and it worked. It honestly was that bad from the opposite corner. Guess what Billy Napier says? We're going to keep attacking Ashton Stamps. This is bad coaching from Blake Baker. It's really, really, really bad. I understand being aggressive and wanting to get as many guys into the box to stop their running game, which had been decent up to this point. But we had been giving up a lot of explosives. I am not with a struggling corner playing press man versus their best receiver, Elijah Badger. Easy RPO read right here. He sees single high, so he knows the sideline ball is going to be there. And the thing about this is if we had just any type of better coverage, or if we had a bail here, guess what? We're getting a huge sack because Lagway wasn't really running. You see the right tackle get absolutely massacred by Bradyn Swinson, but because Ashton Stamps is getting burned so badly, this is easy pitch and catch, right? So because the corner play is so bad, it nullifies our best defensive player. Okay, so we get to here, and once again, it's really poor corner play from Ashton Stamps. It's really, really, really bad. I understand I don't like piling on a year 2 player, but you got a single digit, you're wearing Uno. We need our Uno to be that alpha, okay? Dante Jackson Ward, Christian Fulton Ward, so on and so on. And this is actually a play we should be able to defend well because we run this play a lot. Now, this is not Hoss juke. It is Hoss with a 3rd vertical from the end breaker, okay? So hitches to the outside, goes from your slots, but you have a 3rd go route attached to it, okay? So here's what happens. As the corner here, you know that the safety has this go route. All right, so there's no reason for you to be this far from this running back right here. There's no reason to carry with the vertical. There's also no reason for Jordan Gilbert to be this far over because this is your responsibility 12 times out of 10 unless this was supposed to be just straight quarters. If it's supposed to be just straight quarters, then Ashton Stamps is supposed to be getting depth back here, and the go route should be picked up by Jordan Gilbert. It looks like it's more of a cover 6, right, where it's cover 4 on this side, cover 2 on this side. It's impossible to know because our secondary is playing so poor right now. But if it was quarters, and Stamps should have been right here. Either way, we get a good rush right here from Swinson again. Okay, our DTs are getting stalemated, but this is honestly good stuff from Swinson. Again, notice how he retraces his steps, doesn't allow Lagway to scramble, and he's still able to get this ball off. That's ridiculously good quarterback play. And now, here we go. Corner versus a running back in space. We have to like this matchup for a tackle to hold this to just a 3-yard gain. He misses it. Our most athletic linebacker, Whit Weeks, had a tough game, and it's another explosive pass play. What should have been a 3-yard gain ends up being a 15-yarder, and Stamps still doesn't make the tackle, okay? The game's just moving a little too fast for him right now. Lucky enough, we had a holding call go our way, finally, and then, once again, it's Swinson making another play. I mean, it's just ridiculous how good he's been this year. It really, really, really is, all right? And that's a good job by Savion Jones turning the hula hoop and getting right here. Because if we don't get pressure in this 5-wide set, guess what? Lagway, who showed some progressions in this game, is probably working to the backside here for not one, but two big gainers, okay? This is a big gainer because if you hit this, it makes it a more manageable field goal. You hit this could be a big gainer. But because Swinson and Jones and Suggs, who have all been good pass rushers this season, brought a lot of rush, we're able to force a long field goal, which Florida is able to make. All right, so let's get to this 3rd and 5. And this is a bottom 3 play on the season from Garrett Nussmeier. And look, I understand we compare the first years of Joe Burrow and Jaden Daniels all the time. And Nuss, when it comes to production, has been an overall better thrower than both of them. But neither of those two had the back-breaking turnovers as much as Garrett Nussmeier has back-breaking turnovers. In fact, out of any first-year LSU starter ever, I just can't recall one outside of maybe Jarrett Lee and a few others that had the back-breaking turnover issue like Garrett Nussmeier. The first thing, though, I'm going to defend Nuss in some instance here, in some way here, okay? This is not good offense. So we're running a vertical here and out behind it, and we're running a whip from Aaron Anderson. This play has worked every single time. So it is good offense right here to throw this football right here because this had been working. Let's throw it every single time until they prove they can stop it. The issue I have is with the route here from Josh Williams, okay? So you start off here, and, man, you're going one-on-one. I would prefer you option this way where we have open space instead of crowding the picture up more on this side, if that makes sense. So this is not the absolute best. Now, let's get to the second part of this play. Will Campbell just got beat. Now, I feel like Will overall had a really solid game. It's kind of hard for me to see if Josh Williams potentially got a piece of Will's ankle right here, but there is a lot of bull on this side. Okay, it's not insurmountable by any stretch of the imagination, but we need Garrett to throw this, okay? Is it a somewhat dangerous throw? Yes, but I've seen him make this throw plenty times. It's just got to be thrown. Or, if we want to get really sexy here, this is the clear out from Chris Hilton. I understand not wanting to trust Chris Hilton with anything ever again, but he does have a step, and if you throw an absolute perfect ball right here, we're getting this, okay? But I doubt Chris is making the catch because, well, you know. And then to the backside, I actually don't mind throwing the backside dig here to Kyren, all right? This would have been a good option as well, okay? It would have been bang-bang. I've seen Kyren make this catch. It depends on the location of the ball. I've seen him make that catch plenty of times. But what does Garrett Nussmeier do? Well, he does the thing that I've criticized him for all season long. And I understand there are so many elite throws and amazing plays that he made in the second half and also in the first half of this game, but it's all nullified when you do things like this. This is a good pocket, and I understand as well Garrett not trusting the middle of this offensive line. I get it, okay? But they actually do a good job. We finally get 88 blocked, all right? Everything is smashed to the inside. This is where we need you to step up and run, okay? Like I showed you in the first half. Step up and run. If you do it one time, it also helps with your tackles. It helps with all your offensive linemen. And these defenders can't sit this far back and have their heels on the sticks on every single play because, well, they have to fear you running. So a tuck and run in this spot is right. But if you were to go and look at all of Garrett Nussmeier's turnovers, a good chunk of them happens when he starts to roll out and try and innovate, okay? The last thing we want you to do in this spot is roll out to the right where you have no routes. All your routes are breaking to the left, including this from Kyren. That's part of the reason why I wanted Josh to break this way, okay? The way I understand this is Josh has an option to go whichever way he wants to go here. I don't know why you're not going this way, especially if you know the routes are going here. Okay, so not good. Tough game for Josh in the pass game in multiple ways. So we get to back here, and now in the spot, all right, we'll show you a play with DJ Lagway. 2 hands have got to be on the ball. Okay, Brian Kelly has called him out on this publicly. 2 hands have got to be on the ball when you step right here. Okay, 2 hands, step as hard as you can. But you see, if you don't bail out this far back, you can then step up here. But because you gave so much ground here, you allow this guy to redirect and actually be able to make the strip. And also, Garrett is just not an elite athlete. I'll tell you this. I would say more than half of the SEC quarterbacks are still able to get out of this horrid pocket presence here. You got to have 2 hands on the ball and get through here. You just do. You've got to be a good enough playmaker to do that. Unless, if that's not the case, you should never roll out at all. Because if you're able to get through here, 2 hands on the ball, reset, you're hitting Kyren for a big 3rd down conversion here. Okay? But it's just bad. So now Emory Jones is going to go Superman. I have no problem with him doing this. Okay? It's every big man's dream. You just got to hold on to the ball, which does not happen, okay? 94 is able to strip it, and it's a turnover, okay? Just an absolute mess. Good job by DJ Chester following it up and making a tackle. Okay, so we get a better angle of it right here. No need to bail this way. Your tackles are doing their jobs, okay? Right here, left hand goes on the football, and you go as hard as you can, all right? Left hand on the ball. Once again, only 1 hand on it. And by the way, there's more reason for you to put a 2nd hand on the ball when your arm was crushed earlier in the half, right? Your arm is already weakened by that from earlier in the game, and Emory Jones saves us here, but then eventually gives it away, okay? That is, some of it's on bad design, but 99% of that is on Garrett Nussmeier. It's just bad. So after the turnover, you get a ridiculous play right here from Bradyn Swinson. Watch him set this edge right here on this outside run. I mean, you can't really play it much better than this. I mean, look at this. It is a thing of beauty right here. Bang, physical, cut off this gap, see where he is, peek, and he's right there to make the play. Okay, ridiculous stuff. So Florida gets the ball back, and guess what? Blake Baker's defense steps up, and this is really good stuff, changing everything here for DJ Lagway. Bring a slot corner blitz, make sure we don't get beat deep like we had been all game. And Billy, this actually isn't a good play at all. You just want to pick up some of the yards to get your guy into field goal range, because he's a good kicker. But he runs no short routes at all. So we get bailed out by some bad offense, and we bring a really good blitz. Untouched, Greg Penn does a good job. And, well, he still almost completed that on Ashton Stamps, but we force a punt. But guess what happens? On 3rd and 8, can't really get anything going, and this is just not good again. Look, I understand I keep harping back on the QB run game thing. Carson Beck's not an elite runner, but he gives you something in that to where, once again, every single defensive back and every single linebacker, they're not only able to play zone, they're also able to play a version of zone coverage where their backs can completely turn to the quarterback, okay? There's only so many deep outs we can throw to Mason Taylor. And in theory, this still could have been fit in there, okay? This is a good pocket. It's a good pocket, okay? So this still could have been thrown right here. Garrett doesn't have the courage to rip it. And then, once again, you could see where he's so deep in this drop, if he actually tucks and runs through here or steps up into this pocket, he might be gaining, he might be able to run for this, or he might be able to hit this backside dig right here to Kyren. And in fact, he still could have hit this backside dig to Kyren, move back, and you see he has eyes on Kyren right here. Throw it. okay? But instead he decides to eat the sack and play it safe. I get it. 34 had a really good night overall versus Will Campbell redirecting, and we have to punt again. Now, here's the thing. If he tucks and runs, 34 is catching him in this spot, but it's close, right? It just depends how decisive he actually goes to run. Now, you can see, once you step up, he begins to panic, okay? Some of it here is some lack of athleticism, okay? That little pull right there has Garrett all out of sorts, and I do think a better athlete can squirt out of that. All right, so Florida gets a football back in good field position. We got our true freshman DTs out here now, okay? Once again, I don't know why we continue to do this. It makes no sense, right? And Ahmad Bro and McKinley have had issues with this. Your responsibility is this side A-gap. Under no circumstance do we want you to be through the opposite side A-gap, right? The center wants you to turn this way. Now, you see McKinley's raw strength is able to push the center backwards, but we need you to two-gap and get over the center right here if it is indeed a run to the left. So that opens up a wider gap than what needs to be right here. Then you have Bradyn Swinson with the nice little spin move on this offensive tackle to the inside. Okay, so if you do that and you go to the inside right there and your gap is supposed to be this outside gap right here, you've got to be able to hold on, okay, and not get turned here. You got to be able to get back and make this play, and you'll see that they're able to get through there, okay? So once again, Swinson does end up making the play, but not after an 8-yard gain. All right, we got to have an honest conversation about Ashton Stamps. I don't know why we kept putting him in press man when he was getting barbecued all game. It's a bad decision by Blake Baker. Bad. It's inexcusable, honestly. And honestly, some of that's on Corey Raymond. If I'm the secondary coach, I'm going to my DC saying, hey, our guys, especially Stamps, cannot press man them. Okay? So we get a play action fake. We get excellent pressure right here from Bradyn Swinson. But unlike Garrett Nussmeier, DJ Lagway steps up and has two hands on the ball, okay? If you have two hands on the ball, it is that much harder to lose it, okay? Because we have no well, we actually do have some pressure up the middle, but the problem here is Stamps gets absolutely cooked right here by DK, and the deep over from Badger is also cooking Jordan Gilbert, okay? So this actually would have scored, but we got lucky that he actually ended up throwing the tougher of the two options, and Jordan Gilbert still has a chance to make the play, and he's too late, and then Florida bangs it in, okay? It's a big problem. It's a big problem. All right, so we get the football back, and we're trusting Paul Mabenga to make a difficult block. Honestly, the math was a little bit off on this. I would probably want Will Campbell to get a bigger piece right here on this zone block because it is a difficult outside zone block to have. So I would have liked to have seen Will with that right hand get a little bit more 94, but this is still just not good from Mabenga. Play is just dead on arrival, and there's just nowhere for Caden Durham to go, okay? Absolutely, positively, ugh. All right, so this has been the LSU playbook. On the road, 3rd and freaking Mandeville here. And, well, Garrett Nussmeier steps up in a major way. I don't know why Florida decided to get weird here. So they bring a blitz from the opposite side, and they back up their end, and it makes life a lot easier for our offensive line to pick this up. Good stuff from Garrett, feeling this out, and we're running daggers. So we're running a vertical here, and Garrett knows on the dagger, which is the inbreaker behind the vertical, it's going to be open because the DBs are going to run with that vertical. Okay, it's good stuff right there from Garrett, and we get here to CJ Daniels. Excellent stuff, okay? All right, so we get to a really good play call by Joe Sloan, okay? So we've been running outside zone. Then out of 12 personnel, we bring another tight end into the game. play action, and guess what? This is basically the same thing you saw a minute ago with DJ Lagway, all right? So deep rollout, you have to step up and help out your offensive guard here. Mabanga got beat again, but guess what? You're running a flood-ish variation, okay? There is the flat here, vertical here, and then you have the guy you throw to more often than anyone else, Kyren Lacy, on the deep corner, okay? Step up, 2 hands on the ball. If you're going to do something, run vertically through here or throw this. Throw it. It's there. It's there, okay? Throw it right over here, and instead he runs it to the sack, okay? Now, this is difficult. This is difficult. He's looking directly at it, but once you step up here, it's hard to reset your feet. You could throw it on the run if you want to, but vertically run through here. But his unwillingness to run really has hurt this team. And I do want to be fair. This is a really bad blown block by Mabanga. Okay, we really need you to help ride this guy upfield. And part of the problem with him whiffing is it actually did cut off Will Campbell a little bit here. Because what happens is Caden Durham sees that this guy is beating Paul Mabanga so bad here that he tries to go save the day. That kind of knocks Will off balance a little bit, as you could see here. So this is a little bit more difficult if you have this angle right here for Garrett to step up and actually make this throw. But I would say it is there for him to actually throw that ball to Kyren, or just step up and just run through here. The last thing I want you to do is go through to the left side. And this could have, even with this cutting off Will, this could have been a little bit better from Will to come in and save the day. So Garrett follows that up here with an excellent decision on 3rd and 14. You're not going to pick up all these yards. So run these whips that have been very good for us. Decisive throw upfield to Xavion, who gets a good chunk of yardage to make it 4th and manageable. Okay? Really, really, really good stuff from Garrett. Okay, 3rd and 4. Or 4th and 3, excuse me. And, man, not good quarterbacking again from Garrett, but it turns into really good quarterbacking. Once again, DJ Chester and Paul Mabanga get abused. Okay? They're running a twist. They're really targeting them, and there's a lot of pressure. No matter what, this should have been an easy read. Inbreaker, not there. So read it inside out. You have it right here. C.J. Daniels, Florida's giving it to you. Okay, so Garrett rolls out to the left side, and C.J. is still open, and Garrett is lucky that he's still open. C.J. does a good job sitting on the sticks, putting his hands up in the air, saying, I'm open, throw it here, and Garrett picks up another clutch 4th down, and C.J. dives to make sure he gets the yardage. All right, so you want to know why the LSU run game has had so many issues? It's our choreography, right? We do not have clean steps. It's the blocks are rarely clean, and we could have had a really big one here, and everything's just not clean. All the defensive linemen that we go up against are able to sit really heavy, not over-penetrate, and we only gain a couple of yards when we have numbers in the box. Okay, it's kind of the same thing here. Inside handoffs, with the way the middle of our offensive line is playing, Miles Frazier gets dominated by Big 21 right here. We don't get a double on him, where Chester should have helped out Frazier a little bit more before climbing to the second level. Mabanga whiffs right here. He's able to, he just loses all his leverage, and everything is just a pile. Okay, it's just not good. Okay, it sets up this 3rd and medium, and this is a very interesting play design. So we're running the split zone, but after play action faking the football to Josh, we're throwing it back to him, and if he catches this, this is massive. Man, the problem is the key block was missed again right here by Mabanga. Okay, we just need a piece. And you see, he just whiffs. So maybe Josh is still getting through there, so it sets up 4th down. All right, 4th down. This is really good stuff from Garrett. Okay, they're bringing, once again, it's the same kind of blitz they brought on the last 4th down, but this time they're backing out a different player, and we pick it up really good. I'm shocked Florida ringing this on consecutive 4th downs. This to Aaron is open, but Garrett sits and he waits for Mason Taylor to find this open spot in the zone, and he gets it there, okay? Good stuff from the offensive line. I don't understand that defensive call at all. I really, 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 really don't. All right, so we get a critical Emory Jones false start penalty, and then we go to a play that we run a lot during the Brian Kelly era, and it's Hoss juke, okay? We have broken down this play, and the problem with Hoss juke versus the defenses that we were playing in this Florida defense is they had been walling off the juke route, okay? So once again, Florida does this exotic thing where they back a defensive end out to guard Aaron Anderson here, and the juke is just doubled, okay? So Mason, I gotta say Mason, Garrett does the right thing, okay? Hits this, okay? That's where we want the football to go. The problem is the ball is a little high, and Caden has to jump to catch it, and obviously you would like to see Caden make that guy miss. Another thing is the vertical here to Kyren actually gets open, and it's tough. It's really tough in this spot, okay? The design of this play is to be thrown here, okay? If this is thrown, this is also a big gainer as well. We just get a little unlucky based on how they're guarding it. They're guarding against slot fades because we've done that a lot during the LSU era. So, of course, this would have been a bigger gain. This also would have been a huge gain. We take the worst option, all right? But it was open. You don't know that DB is going to let Kyren go. So it's good defense and a little unluckiness from us. If you're going to do these counters out of pistols with a pull read, you've got to pull it at least once. I can't stress this enough. If you just tell Garrett to pull it at least once, it forces these defensive ends on the backside to have to trust it. Once again, you just have to pull it once. Tell them to pull it one time. Because if you do, you're running for a big gain, and then the next time you do it, you have room for Caden to get up in here and actually gain some yardage. Okay, there's no point of having a pull option when you don't ever pull it. All right, so Garrett's not the only quarterback that has this issue. I did a full Arkansas film study, and Taylon Green is the worst at this. And it's even worse for him because he actually can run. But this, honestly, is really good stuff from the LSU offense. Babanga's having a tough day. So we're giving him an extra guy right here. So Garrett in this spot, you need him to step up into this. Now, is this a poor rep right here from Emory Jones? Yes, it's a poor series, obviously, at the false start penalty. But I prefer you to step up into this. And then if you can step up into this, you might be able to see Kyren Lacy right here, and this is probably a bang-bang opportunity to make a play, okay? Step up into it. And then if you step up into it, you could also have a better shot at throwing this football here to our guy, Josh Williams. And then if you step up into it, okay, I understand 90 is right here. You step up into it, you could roll out this way and then run vertically. Okay, if you step up and run vertically, you have a chance. But once again, if you roll out to the right, you're cutting off half of your field, okay? You have a player stumble right here. There's nothing open to the right side, and Garrett just got to take the sack here. And you kick the field goal. I think that was the right decision, and now you're in trouble. All right, so this is the difference in the two offenses. We never get these kinds of things schemed up. All right, it's a tight end leak play. You see me beg and plead for LSU to run more tight end leaks. So you're stopping, you're acting like you're running a quick out here, but you're leaking the tight end, the blocking tight end, and that's just that wide open, okay? Every team gets out-schemed by that. And we get out-schemed on tight end leaks in almost every single game that we play, okay?
Their final touchdown when you're trying to get a stop to get the ball back, what happened on there, that touchdown?
Miscommunication. Half of us thought we were running one play, half of us thought we were running a different play.
Okay, worst play of the night. First off, shout out to Jacques Doucet for asking the question, and that video was via friend of the channel, Andy Staples, who earlier this offseason shared some harsh truth about LSU, and, maybe we were just blind listening to it. Look, I am still confused of what exactly the play we're supposed to be running. And look, I've looked at this play 1,000 times over to try and figure out what Whit Weeks is talking about. So he said half of us was running one play and half of us was running another. Okay, so like we've had issues with all season, everyone's got to stay in their gap. Okay, so you're in this A gap. Whit Weeks is responsible for this B gap. So we need this safety to come in and fill here. And maybe he's talking about Greg Penn running this from the backside here. Maybe he wasn't supposed to do this. Either way, one thing that we have had issues with all season, okay, and Dominic McKinley had issues with this in this game, is staying in your gaps, okay? He made this mistake versus Alabama as well. If your responsibility is this A gap right here, you've got to stay in this A gap throughout the duration of the play. But like this has happened all season, he's now on the backside A gap. So he needs to be over the top of this, but we get turned to the inside. All our DTs have had issues with this, and it's still not been fixed. So some of that's on Blake Baker, and a lot of that is on the $1 million defensive line coach, Bo Davis. But, he's having to play true freshman. Now, your gap is this backside B gap. Let's see if he stays in it. Okay, he does. Okay, Gio Paez here. All right. And honestly, I actually made a mistake. This is not Dominic McKinley. This is Parashand. Okay, they both play barehanded. Okay, so this is, and McKinley's had this issue as well. We need Parashand to stay over the top of this because we have Greg Penn chasing this down from the backside. But because he couldn't stay over the top of this, if he's over the top of this, he's right here to make this tackle on Jaden Ball. Either way, I don't know what Jordan Gilbert's responsibility is here, but you'll see that Whit Weeks overcompensates here. Maybe he's supposed to be on this side. Part of this is on Whit, and I do want to apologize to Ashton Stamps. I had a Twitter breakdown of this play that went pretty viral. Ashton Stamps still has a chance to make this tackle, and you would like to see him in a game where he's not really made any plays, done the opposite. You would like to see a starter at this point in the season to step up and actually make a tackle, but he can't do it. So he could have bailed out our poor run fits, and even if he slows him down, if you slow him down some, Greg Penn has a chance to catch this from behind. So if you get him tripped up, Penn might be able to catch it, but Penn's foot speed obviously is not a strength of his game. So obviously, it's so hard for me to comprehend Whit saying we were running one play and someone ran another. Whatever the case may be, whatever the play call may be, it's bad run fitting, okay? And look, we had been setting a hard edge all game with Bradyn Swinson. Does he get a little far upfield here? Maybe. But look, is this a hold right here? No. I mean, that's just not enough to whistle it. Is there a little bit of a jersey tug right here? Maybe. But still, they normally let that stuff go. The holds were not going in LSU's favor anyway. And look, I don't like to be the guy that complains about holding. Also, let's give Billy Napier a lot of credit for running an intricate design, okay? So you're faking like this is a potential zone read to the right, and instead you're pitching this to the left, okay? Very intricate. I wish we had more creative run designs like that, where you see the offensive line, these blocks are okay. They're not the best, though. But when you have that little bit of extra eye candy, it does make things that much more difficult, okay? Now let's go to this angle. Now that you know the gaps, it is kind of weird in Whit's defense here. This alignment is a little weird. So we have a backside outside technique, 5-tech, 4-eye, 4-5 tech outside the tackle hill. And we have a 3-tech right here. Normally, you don't want to overload one side in a run fit. So it is paramount that Shan stays on this side, okay? I don't know exactly what the responsibility is of the backside linebacker here other than to, guard this backside. And look, okay, so we do see something here on the backside that actually happens. And this is also on Gio Paez. He has a tendency to over-penetrate. So watch what happens here, okay? We don't, and we do a really bad job of this. We honestly do a really, really bad job of this. And this is coaching, okay? And Paez has had a lot of issues with this. We have a tendency to needlessly go up field, all right? And as a defensive lineman, knowing that there's so many creative zone read, outside zone schemes where if the gaps are open, you can really get killed. In this spot, there really is no reason for Paez to be running upfield vertically, okay? So you'll see what happens here. 42, Devon Keys has to respect this tight end, all right? Now, if our defensive tackle on the backside was going flatter, okay, we might be able to get Devon Keys clean back through this way, but watch what happens. 53 is able to climb to the second level, and he's able to cut off one of our backside players. And if you're Devon Keys as a true freshman, you've got to be smarter here. The last thing you want to do is go this way. This is what, I've talked about quite a bit on Patreon and in our live streams. There's little just basic football IQ things we don't do correct, all right? So if you're Devon Keys, no matter what in this spot, you've got to be going this way. If you're Gio Paez, we want you to be going flat if it is a run opposite you, because you're never going to chase it going around back this way, and it's too late. So now you get sealed here, and 53 is able to seal Keys from the backside, who had a brutal game as a true freshman. You're never getting through here and making a play, okay? And it's just too late. We would prefer you to go vertically to have potentially an angle to help out to make the tackle down here, okay? Now that we're done with that, and now that we're over-penetrating and just running through, once again, bad decision right here, we would love that DT to be a little bit flatter so you can stay in the play. There's no need to over-penetrate it, but our DTs have done it all season long, okay? Now, we get to here. Should Whit Weeks have stayed right here? Yes, he should have. It would have been nice if he would have been able to get off of this and be right here to potentially make this tackle. Obviously, you would have liked Jordan Gilbert to do a better job of getting off this player, okay? 89, once you get to here, we need you to chop down and get as vertical as you can, okay? But guess what? We're just too late, okay? And we can't get off blocks. Now, let's get to the guy that took the brunt of my criticism on this play. And once again, you heard Whit Weeks say, we were supposed to be running one play, but then we ended up running another. Why would a guy that entered the portal, all right, he was bad last season, all right? I don't know how PFF had the grades for Sage Ryan to be so high. But a player who entered the portal, cryptic Twitter, not somebody that everyone loves to be around in the locker room, and we decide to give him the green dot. Okay, for those that don't know what the green dot is, that is the helmet communication. That is your job to get people lined up. Okay, the green dot is the captain, in a way, of the defense. Most rational teams, the green dot is on a linebacker. Now, the green dot could have been on a linebacker. I never actually got a clear shot of any helmet at all, but I'm guessing the green dot is on Sage Ryan, okay? I would prefer it to be on Greg Penn, the Mike, a guy that does the right things, number 18. Not Sage Ryan, who needlessly got a single digit when he's not a playmaker. He's all the way back here. Okay, he's all the way back here. Now, I have theorized that the green dot for our defensive players have actually gone to players to where we are actually telling them what to do. Okay, we're actually giving them instructions to help them out instead of actually giving the green dot to someone that is calling plays, making checks, and getting us in the right spot. Because that is probably the only reason that I would give a green dot to Sage Ryan, to help him get in the right spot. So he is completely out of the play. You have seen this throughout this film study. You have seen this throughout this channel. This guy never reacts to a play and takes a good angle and does the single most important thing a safety is supposed to do, which is the touchdown saving tackle. Okay? Yes, there are a bunch of bad run fits, bad angles, bad decisions, but the worst angle of them all was Sage Ryan right here. I understand it comes off very critical. I get it, but you can't take this angle right here. If you were that far away from the play, there is no reason for you to be cutting in this poorly, all right? And one of the big claims to his 5-star rating was his athleticism. What kind of athlete does this? Have such a bad angle? Part of why I think he took a bad angle, and you could just see this in Sage's career, is that he actually doesn't want to make the tackle. He actually doesn't want to hit somebody. But in this spot, you've got to run him out of bounds. There's no reason to not make this tackle. You're here in plenty of time. A horse collar is a good play here because we are making sure he is getting out of bounds. But what do? He actually lets up just a little bit. You can see the foot is off the gas, and he pushes him into the end zone. Pushes him in. I have never seen that. Did Sage Ryan have the alternate spread? Did he have the over? What reason is there to push him into the end zone? I mean, honestly, look at this angle and tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong that he did not let up what is this? What is this? Look, it's lethargic. Why? Brian Kelly, it is lunacy that you keep letting this happen. Are you trying to hurt us? Are you trying to? Okay? No care in the world. None. Okay, get to here. 3rd and 4. All right? Game practically out of reach. And, well, we finally get this ball to CJ. And, well, he makes a ridiculous catch. I mean, this is just unfreaking believable football right here from CJ Daniels. All right, time to have an honest conversation with Josh Williams as a pass protector. It's mostly not been good. Honestly, it's mostly not been good throughout his career. It's just we haven't had anyone better. Honestly, I think at this point, Caleb Jackson might be our best pass protector. I don't think he played at all, but this honestly is not hard. This is not a hard assignment. And he just whiffs him, 6 rips right underneath him. And, could Garrett have still thrown this to Mason? Yes. And it probably still should be thrown to Mason with all 3 of our timeouts especially. But Garrett just had another disastrous half. But Josh, another bad pass protection game. So we get to this 3rd and Farmington, and I'm so tired. We'll talk about a few things while these final few plays run in the background. Good job by Garrett finding Kyren here. So we'll get to coaching and Garrett coming up in just a moment. Let's talk first special teams. Obviously, we missed a field goal. Not the cleanest special teams game in the world. It wasn't terrible. The missed field goal ended up being pretty big in this game, but still, ugh. Now, we go to defense. The thing that's interesting about how this game actually played out was the weird disparity that Brian Kelly talked about after the game. LSU's massive, and I mean massive, play advantage. LSU ran 92 plays to Florida's 45 plays, and what that tells you is, number one, it really is absolutely insane that LSU ran more than double the amount of plays as the opposition. I can't recall that ever happening at all. And the fact that you not only lost this game, but you lost it by double digits is practically absurd. Like, it really, really, really is insane that Brian Kelly found a way to lose a game like that. But he did. He's magically doing things that we've never seen a coach do before. And look, we had a lot of advantages. We were actually, for the most part, pretty good on third down. It was just they won the turnover battle, especially if you factor in that fourth down stop being a turnover, right? And in many ways, I consider a fourth down stop a turnover, as it is a turnover on down. So we lost the turnover battle again, and we're just the overall sloppier team. So right here, obviously, Garrett, I mean, this is just so clear, a run situation, and you just got to have two hands on the ball and just go. Like, you've got to help your offensive line out in this spot, okay? Now, does it not help that Mbenga, who should never be getting beat through his body like this? Yeah, it doesn't help that happens, but this is a clear tuck and run situation, and Garrett decides to do it just too late. Mbenga still's got to hold on to this, okay? But once again, this box score for LSU will sting because there's no reason they should have ever lost this game with the 42-18 time of possession battle. Now, once again, a lot of Peyton Manning teams, those Colts teams that would score so fast, they won a lot of games with those 42-18 time of possession battles, but they would win like actually blowing teams out. Florida didn't necessarily blow us out. You would probably consider us to be a team that controlled a good portion of this game. We just sucked when it mattered the most. So, yes, it is important to note, like we do at the end of every broadcast that we do here, every film study, that this is one of the more bizarre LSU losses in recent memory, okay? The fact that BK lost this game is pretty wild to me. It really, really, really is, okay? Now, let's talk about the defense. And this is important to note. We're not good on that side of the football. But this is what is very interesting about that. Yes, there was the Harold Perkins injury that hurt because we had to play Devon Keys so freaking much. And Devon Keys is not ready to play Division I SEC football. I'm more of an Xavier Atkins guy. I'm a little shocked that he's not getting the nod there. But because I think Xavier gives you a little bit more athleticism. Actually gives you a lot more athleticism in my mind. But overall, this was a rough Blake Baker game, if you ask me. Not necessarily from his calls, but just the personnel decisions, right? If Ashton Stamps is playing that poorly, there is no reason to make him go 0 to 45 plays. Take him out. Put someone else in there, right? Just to give him a break, to let him settle, okay? And if he's getting beat that bad, there is no reason to keep pressing him. So some of that is on Blake Baker. It's a lot for him to manage. But if I was, like I said earlier, if I was Corey Raymond, I would have gone to him and said, look, let's just trust Zy Alexander and just double whoever Ashton Stamps is on that side of the formation. Now, it can't just be that simple. They did a good job, Florida, of course, motioning guys to get really good matchups. But that is one very simple thing I would have been able to do. But then again, your safety play is also struggling mightily. I could say for certain that Jordan Gilbert, it feels like he's playing hard. I don't know if I could say the same about Sage Ryan. I understand Jordan has been struggling. It's 2 rough games in a row. But, like I said, I mean, the Sage Ryan experiment has got to stop. I felt like it was a better Major Burns game overall. But, it still was a game where, he wasn't really making any plays at all. Okay? Once again, 45 plays. So it was very feast or famine. It was either explosive touchdowns or quick touchdowns or 3 and outs. They made some good stops, and most of the stops were actually made by number 4, Bradyn Swinson, who missed the first quarter because of disciplinary issues. According to Koki Riley, I wasn't able to listen to the broadcast. Sage Ryan also missed the first quarter for some disciplinary thing. So it's strange. But overall, defensively, weird game to evaluate, but they also got one massive advantage that they did not actually run with Lagway at all. Lagway, a true freshman quarterback whose biggest thing is his athleticism, that wasn't even a part of Florida's game plan. He beat you, a true freshman, from the pocket. So it says a lot about the coverage. I felt LSU's defensive tackles had a rough game as well, but it wasn't the worst either there. So weird game, like we said, because of the box score. But now we'll go to the offensive side of the football, and then we'll get to Brian Kelly here in just a second. The LSU offensive line was brutal. I felt Will Campbell and Emory Jones were fine. There were a few plays I would have liked a little bit cleaner blocks from Will in particular. I thought Emory Jones overall did some really good things in this game. And then obviously you had the massive curveball of another offensive guard injury and Miles Frazier being hurt. Tyree Adams steps in, and Tyree had some rough snaps, but it wasn't the worst. I have no idea. And this is where the lack of adjustments really are an issue. We tend to think of adjustments, whether it's, at halftime or during the course of the game, as things you can do to help your side of the football out, okay? The problem is the more important adjustments that you make as a coach is taking out players who aren't getting the job done. And it is baffling to me that LSU is still doing the DJ Chester thing. I don't care that they have said that there's not another center on the roster. At least that's what I've been told, that there's just not someone else that they can actually put out there. That's just not reasonable, because you're telling me that there's not anyone else on the entire roster that you can experiment at this position with, because Chester still, and I normally don't look at the PFF grades until I'm done with this, but I had to know to see if he broke the streak. He didn't. He has not had a PFF game that they would consider to be replacement level, right? Like decent. It was another 55 grade from DJ Chester. And that makes the Paul Mabenga situation that much tougher. Obviously, Garrett Dellinger being hurt has made the Chester situation even worse, because Dellinger was labeled as the backup center, but now you're forcing Mabenga to keep playing all these snaps when he's not a Division I Power 5 guard yet. That is inexcusable to not try Tyree Adams. It is inexcusable that they don't try someone like a Bo Bordelon at center. It's inexcusable, right? You're not giving our team the best chance to win, because according to the people at PFF, now they're not the be-all end-all. I've said my piece with them, but the fact that those guys have not labeled a single reasonable game at center is appalling, that LSU's not tried somebody else. Trust me, I will pay LSU to try Bo Bordelon at center, because I know he can snap the football, and he's done some things at center in practice, okay? Just try it. Please, just try it, because the middle of your offensive line getting abused is a big problem. Wide receivers, overall, the Kyren Lacy penalty was the biggest play in this game, but Aaron Anderson has continued a freaking amazing season. He's got a backdoor shot of being an all-SEC second or third teamer. That's how good he's been this season, and I've been really proud of Aaron. I have said my piece about Chris Hilton. Obviously, we released the Patreon episode last week, and like I said, I highly recommend you join the PHL Patreon, because I said that I would have made this change. I would have taken him out of the rotation last week, okay? Now, I didn't show it in this film study, but Garrett did miss Chris Hilton when he had a step, and that should have been a completed touchdown. And then at the end, Chris Hilton gets hit directly in the hands. Garrett leads him perfectly, and it's kind of like the Sage Ryan thing. They wear the same jersey number, and if you're expecting them to make a play in a high-leverage situation, you're just not going to get it. It's just been the MO on him. And, Brian Kelly said what he said, and I defend, like I say, and go to the Patreon and see my full reasoning as to why it's free, by the way, link down below. But I've said my piece at this point. Chris is not doing what he's being coached to do. He keeps making the same mistakes over and over and over again. I would take him out of the rotation and just play somebody else at this point. So, once again, a weird Kyren game because of the penalty. There were a few instances where he was open. We didn't get it to him. But, overall, a non-factor, and some of that is some of the protection issues as well. Running back, the actual runs from the running backs in terms of making guys miss and getting the most out of some carries was actually pretty good from Josh and Caden. I really liked the tighter running back rotation. Those two have separated themselves, but it was all the other things, including the pass protection from Josh Williams in particular, that wasn't good enough today. But overall, running backs were fine. Now, we get to the final two. Now, before we get into our analysis of Garrett Nussmeier and Brian Kelly, I believe, and I'm just speaking this into existence, that we're about to get a pretty big Venmo, Cash App, or Super Chat, right? Because that is how I'm able to pay my rent, and this is what I do, okay? And most of the money I make is from your donations, and we do appreciate our partners, NOPOD, Zion Imaging, NoOffSeason.com, and everyone in between. But if it's in your heart's desire, please drop a donation. Another bad Garrett Nussmeier game, though. I mean, there's just no other way around it. Yes, I do film studies on all the other teams. And what I want you to do, and I really want you to go do this, go ask yourself, and I'll link it down below as well. Go watch my film study I did on Quinn Ewers yesterday. Quinn Ewers versus Arkansas, and then the week before, Quinn Ewers versus this exact same Florida Gators defense. Now, I will say this Florida Gators defense did have healthier corners in particular in this game, but let me say this about Ewers, is Garrett Nussmeier and Quinn Ewers are playing about at the same level, right? Both are very limited. Both have been very inaccurate deep ball throwers. Both have had their inconsistencies with footwork and turnovers and pocket mechanics. But the difference between the two of them is Quinn Ewers has a competent offensive line, and Quinn Ewers has an actual play caller that schemes things wide the frick open. I mean, wide open. I'm talking about chasms, levels of space. And LSU just doesn't have that with Joe Sloan. So while Garrett Nussmeier is extremely talented like a Quinn Ewers, he doesn't get the same benefit of that, right? He is not as surrounded with talent as Quinn Ewers is at Texas. Receivers are great. Garrett's got a great tight end. Texas has a great tight end. Running back talent is about the same. But the offensive line and play calling chasm is there, right? This wasn't Sloan's worst game. There are plenty of plays to be made that were not made in this game. But there, and in particular the Kyren mistake, but there was still, it's rare you see the things get wide open. And one thing I really like about Texas in particular, they call so many plays that makes life easier on their offensive line. So not only do they have a better offensive line, they also have it easier overall as a group. And we just don't have that at LSU. We just don't. Okay? But all of that aside, Garrett Nussmeier was bad. The turnovers are bad. The lack of want to run up the middle was bad. It's just gotten pretty rancid at this point. I don't know if he's more hurt than we would like to think up to this point, but this will sound crazy, and I just want to point this out. But the bad Garrett Nussmeier games, now he's had other bad moments in victories versus Ole Miss and South Carolina where, he just has bad turnovers, and we're able to overcome it with some clutch defensive stops and good luck. But once Chris Hilton was inserted back into the lineup and the wide receiver rotation changed some, I'm just saying the Nussmeier's play has gotten worse. It's not just that. I'm also a big stickler on having an extremely tight wide receiver rotation, but still, a lot of this is on Garrett too. a lot of this. I understand not having Dellinger is something that hurts. I understand all of those things. I get it. But, man, Garrett has fallen off a cliff with the turnover problems getting worse, and some of the missed throws are definitely there. Now, we get to Brian Kelly, okay? And this is the thing that I would like to ask each and every one of you that defend Brian Kelly. And I am perfectly fine with defending him, and I'm perfectly fine running it back next year with him as the head coach. Obviously, financially, it is near impossible to get rid of him at this point. But the thing that is always brought up when Brian Kelly is talked about as a coach, and this only being year 3, is, well, he took over the program with only 39 scholarship guys, okay? And I get that, and there was a lot of communication and different things that we needed to do to get this program back on the right track. And I totally get that, all right? But let's rewind the clock to LSU versus Kansas State, and then take a look at this game, LSU versus Florida. And I would argue the talent on the field that we had versus Kansas State is not all that different than the talent that we had in this game versus Florida. And this is a macro and a micro issue with Brian Kelly. Number one, in between the headsets at LSU, he has had some downright putrid games. From the very first game he coached versus Florida State in 2022 to now versus Florida in 2024. It is bad coaching. We had bad special teams last year, all-time bad special teams in 2022, all-time bad defense in 2023, and now we're getting all-time bad offensive line play in 2024 and bad all-around stuff in 2024 when we had the best offensive line on paper. Why is that the case? Well, it's bad coaching, and it starts at the top. This staff was supposed to be the superstar staff with all the assistant coaches that we brought in and all the salary increases we had for pretty much every assistant coach on the staff. And unexcusably, our coaching has gotten worse. And it's hard to blame any one assistant coach because so much of it is just on the head coach. But dear Lord, we just do not play smart football. And some of that is out of the coaching side of things. We've brought this up plenty of times, but we do not play with the best football IQ with the actual players that are on the field. We don't make the right cuts. We don't make the right decisions. We don't make the right leverage decisions, such as helmet placement and letting guys cross face, all those different things. And that, I hope, is being coached correctly. There's different ways to coach it, different techniques. But the problem is pretty much everyone on this roster makes those kinds of mistakes. Pretty much everyone makes those kinds of mistakes, right? And that's a major problem, and that falls on the head coach. I think the small football IQ things were actually worse in the Alabama game, but a lot of those same things happened here. It was good to see Whit Weeks pick up the ball. Anytime the ball's on the ground, always go pick it up. You never know, okay? It's a safe, free thing to do, unless, of course, you aren't punting, okay? Now, this macro decision was the worst decision for Brian Kelly. And this is a decision, once again, that's kind of under his control, but also kind of not under his control. And it's honestly impossible for me to 110% know if this is something that he can have a say-so in, but it's NIL, okay? And the problem he thought, he said, hey, we're going to build our program through high school football recruiting. That's what we are going to do. And that was the grossest miscalculation that he made, okay? There are so many teams that were very active in the transfer portal defensively, and it paid off, right? Most notably, of course, Ole Miss. But I want you to really think about the roster we put on the field. And I want you to think about our bad injury luck. Have we had bad injury luck. Yes, Garrett Dellinger's out. Jacobian Guillory's out. There's a lot of different players that are out of the lineup. But the issue is the backups for those players are not good, okay? Paul Mabenga being your top left guard backup, that's not good enough. A 3-star player in year 2, all right? Our starting slot corner is a 3-star true freshman, P.J. Woodland. It's just too many young 3-star recruits. And that goes against my biases because I always cheer and pull for the Louisiana 3-stars, and I'm always very defensive, in particular of the year 1 and year 2 players. But holy crap, we really lacked talent in this game. And the problem is you could work around a player having a few bad snaps. College football's hard. The other players are really good. You're going to have some rough snaps. The problem is the rough snaps happen on almost every single play, all right? So even if we had the absolute best scheme, if we had Andy Reid and freaking Steve Spagnuolo as our play callers on both sides of the football, it probably wouldn't have mattered at the level of play that we got from Ashton Stamps in particular. It was a brutal game. Our defensive tackles, we have some ends that are playing tackles right now. Safety play, obviously, left guard, center. If they're consistently having that bad of games, it's hard to overcome it. And the fact that you don't have anyone else that you trust, I mean, there are so many 4-star defensive backs that you brought in through the portal. Are they really just not good that you don't want to even try them at all? I mean, Jair Brown was a part of the lineup. Don't want to try him at all. J.K. Johnson, part of the lineup. I don't even know if he's still on the team. There's so many guys I don't even know if they're still on the team. And those guys have played bad when they've played in the little bit, but why not try it? Why not try Kylan Jackson? Why not try Deshaun Spears? And in their defense, a lot of the young guys have struggled. I know so many people are saying, hey, we want a youth movement. Let's see the young guys go out there and play. They have also struggled. But at some point, you got to give some guys rest and just see what else you could potentially have out there. So that was also a massive miscalculation by Brian Kelly, because on both sides of the football, if you have players that are getting beat on every single snap, it doesn't become 11 on 11. It becomes 10 on 11. And then when you factor in some of the deficiencies of some of your good players, right, such as Garrett Nussmeier never running, the quarterback run game is something that's really hard to account for defensively. That takes away a half a player as well, right? It takes away one less thing that the offense can do, all right? If defensively you can't pass off coverages, it makes it that much harder to play split field pass off coverage kind of thing. So all those things just kind of pile up, and on top of the actual individual play calls being not that great, it all comes back to Brian Kelly, okay? It was just a really gross miscalculation of this roster, and it deserves a ton of blame. Now, the good news is it can quickly turn around in this day and age in college football. It really can this offseason. So that's why I think Brian Kelly deserves another shot to run it back. But at this juncture, okay, at this point in time, it is not hyperbole to say that the bad things that LSU has done as a program over the past couple of seasons have far outweighed the good. Okay, and that's where a big issue lies, right? 2023, we did a lot of great things, had a Heisman Trophy winner, lost 3 games, couldn't make the playoff. This last season, we were out of the playoff race with 3 games left to go with the most favorable schedule LSU has had per my schedule power rankings in a very long time, in over a decade, okay? And we still couldn't get it done. Lots of lucky wins, games that we should have lost, and lots of blowout losses. You should never, in a game where you've run double the amount of plays, lose by double digits. It's not good enough, and a lot of that is on Brian Kelly. So if I were to label blame at this point, I would put a good 60 to 70% of it on Brian Kelly. I understand that a lot of people will say, hey, it's talent. You can't win with these players. It's only year 3. Well, that's on the coach, right? If it's clear that there are multiple players that are not built for this on the field at all times, and you're not even making any substitutions, not even trying anything out, even one that makes logical sense, like putting Tyre Adams at left guard, that's bad coaching. Really, 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 really bad coaching. All right, I'm done. So, yeah, I mean, it's. I really do mean all those things. I really do. But I try to spin things positively. It's just hard to do so right now. I hope you enjoyed this film study. Please share it. Let other people know about it. And let me know down below, should LSU make a quarterback change? I thought it was interesting and a little bit of weird change in messaging. And it now makes me want to study every sideline shot I can get to see who's actually dressed out and who's not. I'm not sure if I ever saw Rickie Collins dressed out in this game, okay? Colin Hurley is right here, and A.J. Swan is right here on offense. Normally the quarterbacks are standing next to each other, and A.J. Swan immediately went out on the field. So, I don't know. Once again, I'm just pointing it out. It was weird that A.J. Swan went in instead of Rickie Collins. So, it is what it is at this point. But Swan going in is weird. Should Garrett remain at quarterback? Should you try something else at quarterback? I don't know. Maybe it would give you a spark. I just don't know if it's going to change anything with the center and left guard play being what it is. But yes, I'm still bullish on Garrett Nussmeier's future. I will be honest, though. I am starting to crack a little bit with Brian Kelly, but the buyout is a buyout, and we're here at this point. I'm starting to lose faith, though, with all these double-digit losses. So let me know what you guys think down below. I know some of you are like, well, we got the money. Let's just fire him. Let's just get rid of him. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I would not do that. I would not move on from Brian Kelly with and I understand we lost a commitment, a top 100 guy, but I would not move on from Brian Kelly for next season. I just wouldn't do that, okay? But let me know what you guys think down below. And it is Power Hour LSU. Boom! And tonight we are doing chicken enchiladas.